Militarily Speaking, Season 2, Episode 14. It's not just Season 2, Episode 14. You
no,
count
Tom,
season
it's
one,
not.
You count Season 1 up to Episode 86 if I do the math.
Can you do the math?
It's
0, carry the 1. It's 100th episode. I've put up with you 100 hours.
This is the end of the episode. We are going to continue this when you have a better attitude, Jodi.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, we may never continue. This episode, we are going to talk with Paul Cockerham with Purple Heart Homes.
Welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean and Jodi Vickery. I'm the military retail executive for Armed Forces Bank. Jodi changes jobs as much as she changes
socks,
clothes. She is the chief digital officer, which really is a prolific job for Armed Forces Bank. So thank you for your service, Jodi.
Oh, hey, thanks. Again, welcome to our show. We're really excited to have you listening and learning about our guest today, Paul Cockerham. I do want to tell Paul, our audience, a little bit about you because
if it's accurate,
impressive.
Right?
Well, yeah. So Tom may have thrown in random things. And so if he did, you can
just fact check me.
Beat your hand on the desk really loud or something.
It's verbatim. Okay. So I think Paul's okay with it.
Okay. Make a weird noise if I tell a lie. But Paul is a native North Carolinian, born and raised in Statesville, North Carolina. After high school, Paul enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Upon completion of basic recruit training at Parris Island, South Carolina, and School of Infantry West at Camp Pendleton out in California, he was assigned to 1st Marine Regiment as an anti-armor missileman. He completed deployments with 1st Battalion 9th Marines and 3rd Battalion 1st Marines, the latter of which took him to the Middle East into service in Operation Desert Storm. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
We should stop and say that. Upon completion of military service, Paul returned to North Carolina and attended, do you say Appalachian or Appalachian?
Appalachian.
All right.
Whoa.
See, it's a debate worth having. It's like pecan.
Yeah. Tomato.
Appalachian State University, graduating with a BSBA finance degree. And in 2010, Paul joined the board of directors of Purple Heart Homes and served until 2016. In 2019, he joined Purple Heart Homes as a staff member working in business development. And he lives in Statesville, North Carolina with his wife and their rat terrier rescue dogs. How many do you have?
We're down to 1 now. They have all passed away except for 1.
How many did you have at one point?
4.
Jodi has 5 dogs.
I have 5 dogs.
The last 3 dogs we had were rescue dogs. They're all Chihuahuas. But yeah, we love the rescue dog path.
Yes, best breed ever.
Yes.
What's weird, though, is that you were on the board of this. You usually do it in a different order like that, right? You're on the board, and you probably love being on the board and love the mission that you said, you know what, I'm going to work there.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit.
We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then despite being busy with all of that professionally, he enjoys anything outdoors, camping, hiking, mountain biking, kayaking, and riding motorcycles on and off-road. And you're kind of in the perfect area of the country to do that. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we are world-class outdoors in Western North Carolina.
Yeah, for sure. So welcome, Paul. It's an honor to have you on the show. And thank you for being with us and being willing to put up with us for the next 45 minutes.
Do you know that I first reached out to them in June of 2024?
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm just going to wait.
And
I just sat all
and
day.
He finally
said,
caved in.
Pretty soon Paul's going to send me a note. He's going to send me a little gift or something.
Probably not a gift, but carry on.
He finally said yes to have me stop
just
contacting
to get you
him.
To go away.
Yeah.
I would love. Well, we got off track a little bit. You interrupted me.
Well, there's a shock.
Shocking. You interrupted me as I was finishing his very good introduction. But what I would like to do is to say welcome to Paul. Thank you for being here, which we're happy to have you. And I would love for you to tell our audience about Purple Heart Homes and how it all got started.
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me. Thank you for having Purple Heart Homes. The story of Purple Heart Homes is, I'll call it an organic one, born out of tragedy. John Galena and Dale Beatty are 2 co-founders. I should say the late Dale Beatty. We lost Dale in 2018. They were National Guardsmen here in North Carolina. Dale was a full-time active guard guy. John had the regular guard schedule, 2 weeks in the summer, 1 week in the month. Iraq had kicked up in 2003. The National Guard unit was activated. John and Dale were sent to Iraq. And then in November 2004, they're out on a mission, a route clearance mission. and ran over 2 anti-tank landmines in their Humvee. In that explosion, John was driving the Humvee and Dale was in the passenger seat. It took the right front quadrant off of the Humvee and Dale's legs with it. So Dale's a double amputee, and John has head and back injuries and a traumatic brain injury. They get back. So fast forward about a year and a half, John stays in Iraq. Dale's evacuated to Germany and eventually gets back to Walter Reed and spends about a year and a half rehabilitating, getting his prosthetics. But as fate would have it, John, being a regular guardsman, his day job, he was a custom home builder. So when Dale gets back here to Statesville, North Carolina, he has a wife and 2 young kids, but he has a house that's not handicap accessible and certainly not livable for a newly double amputee. John says, I know how to help my battle buddy. He rallied the community. And this was in 2007. He rallied the community and on some family land of Dale's, the community. And with John in the lead, built Dale a fully handicap accessible home for himself and his family. So a really organic start. Things came together as they would. And that's really the impetus, the start of Purple Heart Homes, or what would then become Purple Heart Homes. All the volunteers that showed up on Dale's project, most of whom were Vietnam veterans, were just saying, hey, we will not let you guys come home the way we came home. We're going to help. So the original idea behind Purple Heart Homes was to just pay it forward to one veteran, and that to be a Vietnam veteran. But here we are. August 26th will be our 18th year.
Wow. That's awesome. That's a way to turn tragedy into goodness for a long time.
But you think about that. We get transactional in nature, Paul, right? You take care of that immediate need when you sort of refurbish a home and modify it to meet the needs back then. And then all of a sudden we do that transaction and then we just stop. And then it's so cool, to Jodi's point, that it just didn't stop there. And we'll get into the programs and the story and the number of projects you've completed over that time frame. But just so awesome to see that it materialized into something that almost is becoming a household name. So good for you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I'm sure as a board member, you probably had a big part of that too.
Well, what's so interesting about all the organizations that we've met along the way with this podcast, there's stories like that at the root. And so that why is not ever going to go away. It's not like a passing whim or that's the core of who they are, which is impressive.
We're going to get into the programs that are available through Purple Heart Homes. But before we do that, let's talk more about the application process. Getting the brand out there, getting the word out there, getting what you do with all the nonprofits that serve military, it gets pretty noisy out there with the number of organizations that provide great programs, services, and support. But once they find you, and they'll be lucky to find you, talk about the application process and then talk about the VAIP and the VHOP, which are great 2 acronyms.
More acronyms.
I know. That's not a restaurant. And
the VHOP, not to be confused with the IHOP.
Right. But yeah, let's talk about the application process. How do people get started once they go to your website, find out that, hey, I need help. Am I eligible? And what happens from that point?
Yeah, so go to our website, click on the apply button. It'll take you to whichever programmatic offering we have that fits your need. And the application process is pretty straightforward. We capture some pretty basic information, and the information that we capture, we use as data to further our cause to try to drive more money to the organization, because people like to see who we're working with and what we're doing. The application is what you would think: your name, your location, whatever your need is, your branch of service, your area of service, just some various generalized information. In our box, as far as being eligible for our services, our box is pretty big. We have a minimum requirement of a 10% service-connected disability or to be over the age of 60 with an honorable character of service. And if that criteria is met, then generally speaking, someone qualifies for what we offer.
You've got, and I know when you say address and location, you've got, I could be off on this, Paul, but 20 chapters or more, maybe even today. Is there that much of a presence around the country where you can service people that live in different parts of the country?
Yeah, we do have chapters all around the country. And our philosophy behind that is chapters are our force multipliers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't be everywhere all the time. We can't do things from here. We try to leverage people in the communities where we have the need or where the chapter folks want to carry our flag and affect our mission, because we're not there.
Yeah.
We go and do projects. We do about 220, 230 projects per year all across the country and in Puerto Rico now.
Wow.
But if we do a project from here with our project management team, we do that and then we come back home. But when a chapter goes and does the project, then the veteran has a point of connection to Purple Heart Homes in their community, in their area. And we think that's an important piece of what we do is we want the veteran to stay engaged and know that we're there. It wasn't, as you said, Tom, a transactional issue
Yeah.
Right.
with them. Hey, you applied, we did what we said, goodbye, have a nice life. We don't want it to be like that. We want to welcome that veteran and the veteran's family into the Purple Heart Homes family.
Yeah. And you mentioned the website. I want to make sure we say that a few times today. It's purplehearthomesusa.org, right?
That's correct. purplehearthomesusa.org.
Very good.
When we isolate specific programs that you've coined out there to the Veterans Aging in Place, the VAIP program, the Veteran Modular Home Solutions, and the Veteran Home Opportunity Program, the VHOP, maybe those have morphed over the years. They've just become a sort of a life of their own to become coined those phrases. But are there any specifications you want to share with the audience about those programs?
Yeah, the differentiator, the VAIP program, the Aging in Place program is where a veteran owns his or her home and then has some critical home repair need that they can address or some need based on health, safety, or accessibility. And those things would be like wheelchair ramps, widened doorways, ADA compliant bathrooms. And then the critical home repair need would be anything deferred maintenance, right? A leaky roof, some foundation repair,
Yeah.
HVAC systems, things like that. The modular home program is formerly known as our tiny home program.
Yeah.
We have 23,000 square feet at our facility here in Statesville where we manufacture these modular homes.
Awesome.
We have two offerings now. We have a 320 square feet. We have a 480 square feet, and there are a few more larger options coming down in our pipeline. But as you might well imagine, to be certified as a manufacturer is quite a lengthy and involved process, whichever state we're trying to get certified in. So those homes are coming online, and we use those in various forms. We provide those out to veterans in need if they have land, and we can just supply them the house, or we provide them to other veteran serving organizations. We partner with them if they have a need for on-site living for the programmatic offerings that they have. We can partner with them and we do the housing piece, and they can do, whatever they do to provide whatever solution it is they provide. And then our home ownership program is we are donated homes from banks, bank-owned properties, or through planned giving, where someone wants to leave a legacy gift. They leave a home to us, and if we can match the veteran up geographically or a veteran's willing to move to where we have a home in inventory, we'll build that home out to whatever the need of the veteran is, whether they're fully ambulatory and just need a home to live in, or whether they need the accessibility modification to the home. We build that out. We get a final appraisal for the home, and then we provide that home to the veteran at 65% of the final appraised value. You start off with a 35% equity position in the home. And obviously, you guys are a bank, so I'm sure you like those.
Yeah.
That's a good LTV right there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Tell us a little bit about the work that your team's done since 2008. You've shared a couple of things already conversationally, but just interested in the magnitude of it, the number of homes that you've provided or projects. Do you have count of how many? I mean, I'm sure it's a huge number, the number of lives that you've impacted.
Yes, I do. We've completed, as of today, as of right now, this podcast, we've completed 744 projects all across the U.S. And we started helping our veterans in Puerto Rico 2 years ago. So about 30 of those projects have been completed in Puerto Rico. And we do some community, is that the right word? Some veteran service organization projects of American Legions or all or not-for-profits. We work to help them out in their facilities. So those 1,744 projects have translated into 4,113 veterans served to date. And the total community and family impact that's associated with that is over 8,500.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good job.
When we get partners or get donors or get people to support you and volunteer, they always want that impact report, right?
Yes.
You've got those numbers at your fingertips, Paul.
Well, what's crazy is every single number represents a story, right?
I know.
Yeah.
And to have 4,113, even if he had 33, it'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
Let's talk, Paul, about brand awareness. I know that every company faces it. Every company wants to be that household name or be a name around the water cooler or around dinner time. But promoting, I know you got a 17-year, 18-year history coming, and the number of projects and people that you've impacted, the word of mouth, the different partners you have out there. But to name a few, I mean, Fox Sports, Lowe's, Home Depot, Food Lion, there's others that have stepped up, and appropriately so, especially in the home improvement space, that you get players like that. But how do you get more partners, but how also do the partners play a role in helping you advance your mission?
Well, we really couldn't do what we do without our partners, the individual donors, the corporate partners, the foundation partners that we have. We just couldn't do, we're not making and selling widgets here. So We have to have people that believe in what we do and trust that we're going to do the right things with their support. So we just can't do it without them. So the home improvement partners, as you said, that's an alignment. Fox Sports came on board with us as a supporter, or we became a part of their Fox Sports supports program in 2020. And that's done a lot for our brand awareness because they will do little PSAs for us. You've maybe have seen some NFL football games on Sunday, and you've seen the
I have.
PSA at Purple Heart Homes. We did a 3-week activation with them at the Indy 500 last year and got some coverage there. They've just been great for us to get our brand out to where we just wouldn't be able to that sort of an audience. And then obviously our corporate partners, Home Depot, Lowe's, Food Line, when they do an activation with us and they put our brand out, they have a larger following than we have. So, we're happy that they promote us like that.
Yeah, good point. If a company that's listening or someone knows of a company that wants to support PHH, how would they go about doing that? Should they call you directly? Should they go to the website and inquire?
Either way, call me directly. My direct line is 704-818-3420. I'm happy to have that conversation. Or if someone goes to the website and we get kind of an email when somebody engages the website, is from our info mailbox, that gets tasked out to whichever is the appropriate department here at Purple Heart Homes. And anybody inquiring about a corporate partnership or sponsorship or wants to get involved with us in any way will come to our team here. So we will see that.
Did you notice that Paul didn't skip a beat when he threw out his phone number?
I know, that's bold.
Because here's Jodi's cell number.
All right. I've had the same cell number since college.
You have?
Can you believe that? Yeah. That's how I remember it.
They had phones back then?
They did. Looked a little different. Might have been in a bag.
It might have been like, it's the Wall Street phone, right?
Actually, my first cell phone was attached to my car. It wasn't.
Like almost Bluetooth or just
No, it was like
physically attached.
Connected with a cord to my car.
Yeah, a wire straight to the battery to power it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. The bat phone. Anyway, we digress greatly. So I want to hear about the Why We Serve part of your organization. We mentioned the website earlier, purplehearthomesusa.org. And, people can go out there and see the purpose, the vision, the mission, everything that it sounds like the whole team from the board down to the people doing the thing every single day. They're all purpose driven. Talk about that Why We Serve component and how that comes to life as you work through these projects and help all these families. Hey everyone, we've got something special for our military listeners today.
Absolutely. If you're in the market for a new home, you've got to check out Armed Forces Bank's VA loans. They're designed specifically for you with competitive rates, no PMI, and no down payment required. And as an approved VA lender with VA certified underwriters, all decisioning is done in-house, which creates a more streamlined experience for veterans.
At Armed Forces Bank, about 75% of our team is affiliated with the military, so we know what it's like to serve. We've been supporting military families for over 100 years, so we've got your back every step of the way.
Whether you're active duty, a veteran, or a reservist, we are here to make your home buying process smooth and stress-free. And with our mortgage service guarantee, we'll close your loan on time or pay you $1,000.
So if you're ready to move into your dream home, head over to afbank.com or visit a branch near you. Armed Forces Bank, serving those who serve.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC, subject to credit approval. VA funding fee may apply. VA loan qualification guidelines apply. Third-party closing costs apply. Owner-occupied property only.
Yeah, so the Why We Serve is just readily apparent. We meet these veterans and we see that they have the need that they have, and we have the capability and the capacity to address that need, and it just positively impacts not only the veteran. What we do, it just not only impacts the veteran, but it impacts any other family member or caregiver that might be tasked with taking care of that veteran's day-to-day needs, or even if they just live in the home. And it's something as basic as, as I mentioned, a bathroom upgrade. So the veteran and maybe the spouse. We work with a lot of older veterans and they have mobility issues and things as well. So what we do generally impacts any family member that's in the home, and also makes it easier on any caregiver that might be associated coming in from an outside organization. And further, it helps our first responders. We've had first responders here locally call us and say, hey, we have this veteran. We keep getting calls this veteran's home. And we really don't have a good way to get him or her out of the home. Could you look at maybe coming up and widening some doorways and building a wheelchair ramp so we can ingress and egress a little easier? And we're happy to do those things. because it's a larger impact when you do a physical or a structural alteration.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can leave a lasting indelible mark too.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, we have a little wicker woven basket here that's at our front door, and I call it our Y bucket. And it's just filled with letters from veterans and from family members and caregivers that have just write to us and say, hey, we want to thank you for what you've done for Veteran Smith, or Veteran Smith says, I want to thank you for what you've done. Here's how you've positively impacted my life. Things are easier. And I use it as what I call a shake-off tool. If I'm having a bad day, or maybe I'm in a bad mood, or just don't want to participate in life today, right? Go home.
Yeah.
I come in, I see that bucket, and I grab one of those letters, and I pick it up, and I read it. I go on about my business. I come to my office, and I get to work.
That
Yeah.
kickstarts you.
Big
man.
old healthy dose of perspective.
It is a big, healthy dose of perspective.
Do you know I have a why bucket?
Do you?
Like why I enjoy working with you?
Does it just have a picture of me in it?
Yeah. And that started it. It's on the outside of the bucket.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's still empty.
Haven't made it into the bucket. Love you too, Tom.
I should call it the why not bucket. Yeah.
Yes, why I should have called in sick today bucket.
We've danced around this a little bit, Paul, but from a volunteer standpoint or from maybe a giving, I'm sure most nonprofits do have a giving opportunity, ways to give. And then this partnerships idea, which you gave out your cell number, and go to the website or just, contact us and inquire about supporting you in some capacity. But if there's a project, that one of your chapters are in that you've might even put on your event planner or calendar on your website, can people just raise their hand and go out and volunteer? Is there anything behind that or any requirements needed from them to be able to do that?
No, if someone can go to our website and then click the volunteer tab and sign up to be a volunteer. And we have a project in that general area. If they want to volunteer around the chapters, we link them up directly with the chapters.
Okay.
So they can go and, we don't have to be the third party scheduler. Seems to work a little better that way. But again, as I said, we can't do what we do without our partners, our financial partners. We really can't do what we do either without volunteers. All of our chapter members, those who have chosen to carry our flag, are volunteers, and everybody in the community that comes out and helps with anything to do with the project, right?
Yeah.
The project itself, or maybe they want to get a team of volunteers together to do a beautification project for the landscape in conjunction with the project that's being done. We can't do it without volunteers. They're critically important, and I can't speak highly enough of our volunteer pool that we've had over the years. Everybody seems to have bought into the mission of what we do, and they genuinely want to help. And we appreciate that.
And they don't necessarily have to have high tech, I know how to build a home kind of skills. They just willing to work and roll up their sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's priceless. Yeah.
The only thing we don't allow volunteers to do is get on roofs.
It's probably fair. Yeah. I probably wouldn't let a volunteer like me do like electrical wiring. There's probably a long list of things you shouldn't let me
Plumbing.
do. Plumbing, concrete, you name it. From a kind of an overall perspective, I mean, you've helped so many families. I think you'll have a unique view of this. What would you say, or what do you see as kind of the current state of the veteran community when it comes to the kinds of critical issues that you're helping solve on a day in and day out basis? Are there needs beyond the housing piece that your team's addressing that you see as also unmet that you think people need to step up to the plate and help with?
Yes, there are absolutely other needs than what we do in the housing space. I call it the hub and spoke model. With what we do in organizations like ours, what we do, we're the hub because everybody needs a safe place to call home, right? Or in military terms, a base from which to launch, right? So if you look at us as the hub and you have spokes radiating out, that could be going and getting healthcare they need, mental health counseling that they need, financial counseling that they might need, any number of other programmatic offerings that other organizations offer that they may need to be plugged into or want to plug themselves into. You have to have a place to come home. You have to have your safe space to come and rest and rejuvenate.
Agreed.
It's critically important. But to answer your question, there are other organizations out there, as I mentioned, financial counseling, mental health counseling. There are organizations that kind of take veterans on adventures, hunting trips and whitewater rafting down the Colorado River and things like that. And all of those things are important for a person's well-being.
Yep.
Do you have like a bat phone or a hotline to the organizations that you're closely aligned? Because it's our 100th episode. Did you know that?
I did.
We've had a lot of podcasts.
We started out that way.
I know. I just wanted to remind our audience But there's a lot of great, you mentioned, the outdoor stuff, right? And you're a big outdoor guy yourself, but the mental health, the veteran homelessness. I mean, we've had a whole litany of guests over the years, plethora, mind you. But anybody, you don't need to call them out by name, but you certainly have those connections with organizations that are serving some of the spoke needs for the hub.
We do, and we provide that when somebody calls and says, hey, do you have this need or can you do these things?
Yeah.
We say, no, we don't do that, but we will happily give you this resource guide that we've put together.
Awesome.
And these are organizations we had worked with in the past that we feel like we trust and would feel comfortable, handing off a veteran to them for whatever care that is or whatever other need that might be addressed. So yes, if someone has that need, it's something that we don't do. We do have a resource guide.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So what about a story or two, maybe just something in your life, whether as the board member back starting in 2010 or when you're currently in your chief business development or chief development officer role? Anything that stands out that beside that Y bucket out there, which is pretty cool, and I'm stealing that to call it my own. But any story that you just want to share with our audience?
Well, I have all kinds of stories I could share. And my story with the board really is just because when we were early on in the organization, I was just the guy that was kind of around, and I found my way to the board when we needed people to fill those slots when we stood up officially. But what that led to was allowing me to be a volunteer for 10 years to Purple Heart Homes. So not only outside of my board time, I was able to do other things to support the organization in an unpaid capacity. And, I was happy to do that. But I'll tell you a story. In 2020, we had an idea to do a fundraiser, and it was a bicycling fundraiser. And we talked a little bit about Brad, who was here. He was an avid cyclist. Context here, Brad was an Army chaplain.
Okay.
And he'd been assigned to the 3rd Special Forces Group. And some of his guys were killed in Afghanistan in 2009 or 10, I can't remember now, in a mountain range at about 10,000 feet of elevation. So Brad, being a cyclist, wanted to get a group of guys together and ride up and down a mountain to achieve a 10,000 feet elevation gain as the fundraiser. So scouting the local area to find a place to do that was, not heavily trafficked. It would be safe for them to do so. We found an area here called Barrett Mountain, and they were up there scouting one day and riding their bikes up and down the hill. And this gentleman came out, older guy, say, hey, there's nobody up here on the mountain. What are you guys doing up here? And the short of it is we learned a little bit about him. He was a Vietnam veteran. He was an amputee, and he had been living in a storage shed for 22 years.
Wow.
And nobody knew that, even though everybody in the community knew who he was, because he would go down and have coffee at McDonald's and the other places with his compatriots, and do his thing and attend churches in the community. And everybody knew who he was, but did not know his story or his living conditions. We learned about his living conditions, and we said, hey, his name was Bill Rocap. Said, hey, Mr. Rocap, you don't need to live like this. We can do better for you. And choking up. So we were able, after about a year, to convince him to let us give him a tiny home. And he didn't want it. He said, no, I've been doing this for a long time, lived here for 22 years. An uninsulated, unheated, uncooled space, a storage shed.
Wow.
He lived in the winter with an open flame propane heater and an electric blanket and slept on a couch that was probably 30 years old. It's just a crazy way for someone to live, but he had adapted. He was resilient with it.
Yeah.
And we were able to convince him to get a tiny home. We built him a tiny home. We took it up and we put it on the foundation and had our mission complete ceremony and welcomed him home. And we have videos of him walking over and turning on the water. And he says, hey, do you hear that? We're listening for a rattling pipe or something, right? And he says, we're like, no, Bill, what is that? And he said, it's running water. Yeah, I haven't heard that sound in 22 years at anywhere I've lived. And it's just things that we generally take for granted, daily.
Yeah.
That was just a wow moment for him to have that. And we lost Bill a couple of years ago, about 6 months after we got him into his tiny home. He got a cancer diagnosis. He was in and out of the hospital, and we lost him about a year ago. But his story is not unique, is the problem.
I know.
I was going to say, you've got hundreds of those stories, I think.
Yes.
Yes. All different, but yet the same.
Yep. I could talk about those stories.
Yeah, we could do a whole series on that.
Do a marathon podcast here and we could talk about these kinds of stories.
Yeah. Tom can talk for a long time. Be careful what you ask for.
We're supposed to eradicate those kind of things in the
Yes.
veteran community.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
Good grief.
Yeah.
It's the very least we could do, right?
Yeah.
So when you look out 5 years, 10 years, y'all been around a long time. What does that story look like 5 more years from now, 10 more years from now for Purple Heart Homes?
Oh, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we want to be helping thousands of veterans every year, not just 250. We want to be recognized as the premier veteran housing charitable organization.
Love it.
And we want to be looked at, not only in addition to that, we want to be looked at as thought leaders in the veteran space, in the veteran housing space. And I can tell you a little story if we have time. I can tell you a story about that. There was some legislation that was recently signed into law by the president. I think on January 12th was the date. It's called the Disabled Veterans Housing Support Act. And we spearheaded that effort starting in about 2017. We were released about 5 million lines of veteran data from the VA. They gave that to us. As far as we know, we're the only organization that has ever been given data from the VA like that. Now, it wasn't personally identifiable information. It was just demographic information.
Right.
Because we had recognized that there was a situation to where veterans were being disallowed access to services, HUD services, because of an area median income calculation. And what that analysis revealed when we got it back out of the millions of records or lines of data, I should say, that we had on veterans, 2010 census data. So I'm sure this number is larger now. We're trying to get that back from the VA. But there was 189,612 veterans that were ineligible for HUD services because of their area median income calculation. And to go into that just a little bit is area median income is, think about two veterans. One veteran, they're both rated at 60%. They both get about $1,800 per month. One lives in rural North Carolina out here, and his neighbors are farmers and mechanics and, just blue collar type people living in a rural area, and maybe works a part-time job or maybe has a job that's below the area median income. And his VA disability income put him or her above that 80% area median income calculation that HUD used as their criteria for service, eligibility for service.
Right.
Now you have another veteran with the same 60%, getting paid the same money, living in some urban area, say Los Angeles, where, movie producers and
Right.
attorneys and business owners are the neighbors, and the area median income is higher. So the veteran living in Los Angeles, the VA disability income doesn't really bump up against the area median income calculation, whereas the rural veteran did. So being disallowed for services. So we worked to get that changed, and that was signed into law. It was HR 244 in the House and then Senate Bill 1714 in the Senate. We were able to work with our representative, get that handed off to Representative Monica Dela Cruz out of Texas 15th District. She put that forward and ultimately it was signed into law. Now those 189,612 veterans have access, or will have once it funnels through the system, will have access to those HUD services that they weren't allowed to apply for previously.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And to think that you pioneered that and took it home.
Yep.
That's a great story. And I saw a little bit of that excerpt on the media coverage for Purple Heart Homes, but it's all on your website as well. That's yeoman's work. Great job.
Absolutely.
We have a few other initiatives, like that we're working on. And don't want to speak too much about those now, but
We'll have to have you back.
Best kept secrets. Yeah.
stand by for some other things that are similar in scale and scope.
Now that you were brave enough to respond to Tom and be on our show,
And provide his cell number.
and gave the whole world your cell phone number, really. So, yeah.
I'm all about the mission.
Paul, one more plug. Any event coming up between maybe June and the end of the year that might be your annual event or something where people can look to support or participate?
Oh, do I have a deal for you?
Oh, boy.
So we have our Patriot Clays Challenge that we have that'll be coming up in September. That's kind of local to us here. It's a Sporting Clays fundraiser. And then we have our fall golf tournament that will be local to us here. It's a 2-day tournament. I think it's in September. I think it's September 12th and 13th.
Statesville area still?
Yes. Actually,
Okay.
close. More Charlotte area for the clay shoot and the Statesville area for the golf tournament.
Okay.
But as soon as we can get our application approved, the big event that we have this year in the fall, and we have a couple of date ranges out there right now with the National Park Service, but we plan to build one of our modular homes on the National Mall
Wow.
this fall to celebrate the nation's 250th. And we are calling that Operation Welcome Home.
That's awesome.
Because once this home is built, we will be transporting that home down to Rockbridge County, Virginia, which is in the Shenandoah Valley, and providing that home to a veteran in need.
That's super cool.
So stand by.
That's gonna happen. Yeah, the application. It's just a formality, but
Yes.
that's gonna happen.
We'll send a link to this podcast to whoever's in charge and say, get on this, people.
Yeah, so anybody that wants to get involved with that, come and volunteer. We're going to be running multiple daily volunteer shifts. Anyone that wants to get involved with us on a sponsorship basis, anybody wants to partner and hang their brand on the Purple Heart Homes brand to be doing this good thing or even more good things, we would love to talk to them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Do you want to play a game?
I do. Do you like games, Paul?
It depends. If I get to make the rules.
I do.
That was sort of a loaded question, wasn't it? So we have a game called the Military Minute. It's a very lovely trivia game that we like to play. And so we're going to invite you to play along, at least for part of it. So last podcast episode, our Military Minute question was about the state of Minnesota. We always try to relate it somehow to one of our podcast guests. And so the question was, Frank C. Mars of Minnesota introduced what candy bar in 1923? Do you know? You want to guess?
Oh,
What's your favorite candy?
He's gonna say the Mars bar. Watch.
Ah,
Yeah.
1923,
yeah.
Mr. Goodbar.
Oh, that's a
Ooh.
good guess because that's kind of an older looking candy bar.
It's he said.
But unfortunately, you're wrong.
Do you notice why Paul says 1923? I know the one in 1928.
Yeah,
but
I wasn't quite
but the
alive then.
1923 one.
Yeah, my kid would be
Ooh,
like,
Snickers,
were you
you said.
alive then? No.
Close.
Also wrong. No, it was the Milky Way.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I know. That's actually good because it doesn't have peanuts in it. It's the peanutless Snickers bar.
Without this military minute game, who would know that and who would care?
Probably my
right?
husband because he works for Mars.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Did he know the answer?
I
you
didn't ask him. I'll ask him tonight and let you know. But this week's Military Minute, you can't answer, Paul, because we're going to tee this one up for our audience, but you can just smile real big and we can tell if you know it. It's a two-part question because
I love
Tom likes to be
two-parts.
fancy, and it's about the Purple Heart. So what was the original name of the Purple Heart, and in which city and state is the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor? Don't answer. And I would say two things. If you answered Milky Way to the last question and you posted that on our drop of that podcast, watch for your name, because if you were right, you could be the lucky winner of $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice.
Like Purple Heart Homes.
Like Purple Heart Homes. That'd be fantastic. And if you know the answer to this week's question, the original name of the Purple Heart and in what city and state is the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor, put your answer in the comments when we drop this episode. And then if you're correct, you too could be entered to win $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice.
And I did two-parter because it was sort of like Purple Heart two-part.
Okay.
All right. So if you hey, that's cute. Paul, thank you. You did an excellent job. Great brand ambassador for Purple Heart Homes. Loved having you as a guest.
Oh, thank you.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, go out to afbank.com, subscribe to the show, make sure to rate us, leave us a comment on your favorite platform, which those happen to be, Paul, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
A plethora.
100th episode.
Plethora of episodes on a plethora of platforms.
And every one of them has been pure joy for me.
Yeah, we've met a lot of cool people along the way, you included, Paul. So thank you for being here.
Oh, well, then, and congratulations on the 100th episode. That's a milestone.
Thank you. All right, Paul, take care. I'll be reaching out to you later, okay? Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having us. I really enjoyed this.
Thank
Great job.
you. It was great to meet you.
Thanks for the work you do and your service. Bye.
Yes.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Copyright Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced here herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.